On. Tonight, let's have a conversation with Ekere. He's former deputy governor of Akwa Ibom State and one of the state's most prominent political figures. He was one of the earliest high-profile politicians to defect from the PDP to the APC, and clearly that defection sparked intense debate and shifted the dynamics of Akwa Ibom politics. Now, with the recent defection of the sitting governor to the APC, the political atmosphere has taken yet another turn as Akwa Ibom navigates this new chapter. The calls for unity, reconciliation, and collaboration across party lines are growing louder. In tonight's discussion, we'll explore Mr. Ekere's reflections on his political journey, the evolving partisan realignment, and what these changes mean for the future of unity, governance, and inclusive development in the state. And let's also tell you that he served as the Managing Director and the CEO of the Niger Delta Development Commission from November 2016 until early 2019, when he resigned to pursue the Akwa Ibom governorship under the APC. Now let's have this conversation tonight. Joining me virtually from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, is Ekere, former Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Right.
So let's start this conversation from the point where you had to leave the PDP for the APC. The PDP is a party that had ruled the state since 1998. And at that time, it was not a popular move, but a bold one, because, now it looks like you've been vindicated. But you were deputy governor of the state from May 2011 until your resignation in October 2012. And I also know you resigned amidst political tensions, looming impeachments, but you said it was on personal ground. But looking back, do you feel your defection was a matter of principle or political survival?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, first of all, thank you for having me on your program tonight. It's been 13 years since the resignation, so a whole lot has happened between then and now. But in 2015, after the formation of the APC, I was one of the first, the very early, politicians of the state that defected to the APC. Like you rightly said, looking back 10 years down the line, we feel that this was a decision that was well taken. We feel vindicated that the rest of the state is moving to join us in the APC, and we're very grateful, both to the leadership of the state, the governor, His Excellency Pastor Moino, and the entire political class in Akwa Ibom State, because, like you would notice, what is happening in Akwa Ibom is just not the defection. I keep saying it. The governor is not just defecting; it's a movement. The entire state has moved to the APC, and it's something that gives us joy. Those of us that were the first converts, I would say, that moved over to this party.
Because, you moved from the PDP to the APC at a time when it was politically risky in Akwa Ibom State. So I wanted to ask what informed that decision, because as a key figure in Akwa Ibom State, also, how did your your supporters feel at that time that you served as deputy governor for just a year?
In 2015, the major reason a lot of us moved at that time was because we didn't believe that the internal processes of the PDP were such that would guarantee the democratic principles. We weren't happy with the way PDP was conducting its internal affairs. It gave us a lot of things to worry about at the time, and so we moved. It was purely on principle that we moved. We believe that democracy is where the government of the people, for the people. People should be allowed to make their choices, and their choices should be respected, and it should count. We didn't feel that PDP at that time could guarantee that, and that's why we moved. And don't forget, that was at the formation of the APC. So that was the first election that APC was running in the country as a political party. Unfortunately, they won that election.
But do you see any irony or vindication in the fact that the same political family that sidelined you in PDP is now aligning with the APC? Do you in any way feel defeated?
No. I actually see. Listen, politics it evolves. There's no condition in politics that's permanent. It's interest that's always permanent.
All right.
Our interests have aligned. And once the interests align, you see in politics you find people that were political foes who now become political friends and allies. So there's no feeling of defeat or anything. It's the fact that yes, this is politics is changing, and then look at even nationally, you would see a lot of the political actors. You see at one point they are together, the next point it's interest as always paramount in politics.
All right. I mean, it's good to see that you have this perspective, which is very rare in Nigerian politics. But what impact do you think the governor's defection will have on the APC structure and internal politics in Akwa Ibom State?
So I think that Pastor Moino has a unique style of governance, and his politics is also very unique. He comes with what we all in the state refer to as he has a Ministry of Reconciliation, and he's been able to do it for the entire state. When he was in PDP, he was able to bring political actors from all shades of opinions and all the political parties together. And I mean, I must confess to you that up until now, the APC in Akwa Ibom State has had its own fair share of problems. Okay, a lot of, I mean, since the last congresses of the party, there's been all kinds of problems going on in the party in the state. But I believe that with the coming of the governor and his style of leadership, that all of the problems of APC would have been resolved, because I believe that, going from the experience we've seen in the last 2.5 years, in the last 2 years of his governorship, he would be able to carry all shades of opinion along, and every person would find, a space within the political party in the state.
And also, amid frustrations with PDP's internal politics, which was one of the major reasons the governor highlighted. Interestingly also,
yes,
there are those who strongly believe that Pastor Emmanuel's decision was self-serving and does not, stem from a desire to advance the state or connect Akwa Ibom to the federal government. Do you believe... Kindly hold on. Let me land with that question. Do you believe the governor's move strengthens or complicates APC's chances in the next election cycle?
The governor's move is a masterstroke for APC in the South and indeed in the entire country. With the governor joining the APC, you can be sure now that, the APC is going to have a clean sweep at the next polls in Akwa Ibom State by the grace of God. We have every confidence that, because you see, the governor did not just move. He didn't just leave and join the party. The governor spent months consulting all political stakeholders in this state, not just politicians. He also consulted even the traditional fathers. He consulted the fathers of faith, the religious leaders. He consulted with the women. He consulted with the youths. The entire state was consulted, and it's a decision that the state has taken.
Apart from the consultation, yes, you must consult, but members of the PDP are saying there was no reason for the governor to have defected. Yes, you're a big supporter of the president. You could have stayed back in the PDP, yet supported the president ahead of 2027. But to be fair on the governor, he says he didn't want to engage in anti-party activities. So those who have said, those who have said the governor's decision was self-serving, what do you have to say to them?
What do you expect PDP people to say? Really and truly, what do you expect them to say? You think they should clap for him? It's a sore loss. PDP knows that with the exit of the Akwa Ibom State governor, that the party is practically dead in the South. And it's the same situation all over the country. I don't believe that it's a self-serving decision that the governor took. It's a decision that was well-reasoned, well thought out, and it's in the best interest of the state. Let me just take you back memory lane. Over the years, in fact, even from the NPN days in the 70s, in 79, you would recall Akwa Ibom has always been part of the mainstream. In the Second Republic, we were part of NPN. In the Third Republic in 99, we were part of PDP. It's, some people say the APC in 2015 was a virus that wasn't expected. So that virus now made Akwa Ibom to be out of the mainstream of the national politics. The decision of the governor today or right now is a very bold and courageous decision that has returned Akwa Ibom back to the mainstream of Nigerian politics. And we're all very happy with it. And this is a position that we've always been anyway. We've always been with the mainstream of Nigerian politics. So it's the right place to be, as a matter of fact.
All right. But what would you advise the APC leadership to do to avoid the kind of internal divisions that forced you out of the PDP years ago?
Oh, so the major problem, like I did tell you earlier, the major problem that drove us out of the PDP was lack of internal democracy. Fortunately, APC doesn't and is not showing any signs of that. So my advice to
you're speaking from a personal angle, Mr. Ekere, you're speaking from a personal angle, because there are some politicians in the APC who would feel disgruntled that they had suffered for the party over the course of the year, and the years rather, and the governor is now in the party just to, oversee the affairs of the party, and practically is now the leader of the party.
So again, that we must differentiate between saying you suffered for the party and internal democracy. The issue I was talking about that made us leave the PDP was lack of internal democracy. That's very different from people that have been in the party. I mean, the issue of party patronages and rewards, the reward system, it's a matter of discussion which has been ongoing. I think it's something that the leadership is listening to. And you see, people generally have got to be patient. There's no way the political party and indeed the government can reward all politicians the same day. It's got to be a gradual thing. But eventually, I'm sure that politicians and members of the party who've worked for the party would get some form of...
Are they disgruntled because the reward process is slow, or they've not been considered at all?
I think you can't say you've not been considered at all. The government is only 2 years old, okay? We still got 2 years to go in the first tenure, and by the grace of God, we still have another 4 years in the second tenure. So I would rather say that it's slow, not that they've not been considered. That you've not been considered in 2 years doesn't mean you won't be considered in 4 years or in 8 years. So it's just slow, and people should just try and be patient and, give the president some time to do his work.
But what kind of relationship do you have with Senate President Godswill Akpabio? You were his deputy governor, but you had to resign.
Again, politics evolves. Okay. Yes, I was his deputy governor. I resigned at the time. I left him in PDP. But don't forget that he also came to join me in APC in 2018, and I received him into the APC in 2018. So we are now back together in the APC. So it's our interests are aligned right now. Both of us support Mr. President. We support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
But is there a cordial relationship there?
Godswill Akpabio is my brother. Just like in every family, you can have issues, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you are brothers. There's always time to talk. There's always time to resolve whatever the issues are.
All right, so there are, what you're saying is there are issues, but you both are still brothers.
We are brothers. Godswill is my brother.
So how do you intend to resolve that issue, and what exactly is the issue?
We don't have any... You make it sound like there's a major issue. There's absolutely none.
Okay, so what is the minor issue?
There's no minor issue even. He's the Senate president. We support him in his efforts to lead the National Assembly. Because, of course, he's now number 3, very busy man. We probably don't have as much time as we used to have before to stay together and all of that. But other than that, there's really no issue.
All right. You know, it's important to also remind everyone that Ekere chaired the Akwa Ibom State Emergency Management Agency and simultaneously as chairman of Ibom Power Company. And that's the power generating company owned by Akwa Ibom State. So let me ask you, do you still want to become governor? Are you still not seeing that ambition?
No, that's done. It's gone over. I'm out of the governorship race. I don't see myself running that race anymore. I've actually dismantled all of the structures I had for governorship, and that's not happening anymore.
And I'm wondering why, because you know one of the reasons why you left the PDP for APC, just like you said, was because you wanted to become governor. But that primary election didn't favor you. You had to leave. Udom Emmanuel won that election. Now Pastor Emmanuel is governor and would likely go for a second term. You were APC's Akwa Ibom governorship candidate for the 2019 governorship election, and you're still very prominent. Yes. And this would have been a perfect time for you to test your popularity again. But with this move, clearly you would have to.
I will ask you. So why didn't I want to do that in 2003? I should have if I wanted to. After the 2019 outing, but I just made up my mind that was it. I've had it, and let other people try. And I'm supporting. I'll be willing to support them. I presently support Governor Umoino. I like the work he's doing for the state, the way he's been able to bring Akwa Ibom people together, bring peace and harmony to the state, and delivering dividends of democracy all over the state. He's running a people-centered government, and I can tell you that the generality of Akwa Ibom people, the majority of Akwa Ibom people, are very happy with his administration. And so I don't see any reason why anybody in his right senses would want to challenge Governor Moino.
Well, because I wanted to say, some of your supporters are not happy. Does this mean they are unhappy on your behalf? Do they know that you're pleased with how things have turned out, sir?
How? They're not happy about what? Sorry.
All right. So are you considering running for any political office? You said you're no longer interested in running for governorship. What would it take for you to return to frontline politics in Akwa Ibom State?
I think I'm still in frontline politics. You mustn't run for office before you're in the front line. I consider myself still in the party, and my interests. I'm consulted on party issues, which is what matters. And I mean, it's a choice I made, and I'm happy with the decision I've made. And I'm very happy with. I have time now to concentrate on other things, and my family especially. I have very young kids, so I'm spending a lot more time with them, and also on my business. So I'm very happy with that.
All right, Mr. President, rather, in his busy schedule, will be in Akwa Ibom tomorrow. Is coming to officially receive the governor, Pastor Umoino, into the party. And I wonder what kind of message the APC is trying to send out there. Because the governor's defection was quite ceremonial. He didn't just make an announcement. APC governors were on ground. The national leadership of the APC was on ground. And expectedly, that should be enough. But with Mr. President coming all the way, what is the essence?
It's a tsunami happening in Akwa Ibom. You probably you underestimate the imports of the movement of the governor. There is a total shift in political alignment in the entire state, and indeed in the South. Okay, and well, you know that most times when these things happen in political rallies. So basically, what's going to be happening tomorrow is that the entire state is going to come out. For those of you, well, not you, but some people thought the governor moved alone. What you'd see tomorrow is that all of the grassroots supporters of the governor, the hitherto PDP supporters from the grassroots, all of us would troop out to the stadium tomorrow to receive His Excellency the Governor into the party, and all the other high-profile decampees into the APC. And it's a bold statement that Akwa Ibom State is making, that right now Akwa Ibom State is won under the leadership of Mr. President in the APC.
But apart from this official reception into the party, is there a fundamental issue he needs to address within the party? Is there a fundamental issue you think he needs to address within the party?
The governor is coming into the party. We'll look at what the issues in the party are. If there are any issues, I'm sure it will be addressed internally. but there's nothing for the press to worry about. Don't forget, we're going to have a lot of PDP people, very high-profile politicians coming into the APC as well. So there's got to be alignment and realignments, and everybody will have to be accommodated. My appeal to APC leaders in the state is that they should please open up the party, open up the political space, and allow the governor and his team to come in and work with the governor to make sure that there's peace and harmony in the party and actually grow the party in the grassroots.
You think there are those trying to prevent that from happening?
I don't see it happening right now. I've not heard anything going on, but I just want to make this appeal. It's necessary that we all work together. And I'm, fortunately also a few days ago, the Senate president called a stakeholders meeting, and that's the same message that is preached. So virtually all the leaders of the party in the state, the APC leaders in the state, are making the same appeal to their supporters all over the state to please allow our PDP brothers to come in and embrace them.
All right, then, let's take a break at this moment, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation. This is Politics Tonight, everyone.
Thank you.
In the heart of Africa, where the sun rises over the savannah, a region rich in potential, Abuja, Nigeria, hosts the West African Economic Summit, WISE 2025. This edition promises to be a milestone event, shaping the future of West Africa's economy. Under the chairmanship of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, WISE 2025 is a testament to Nigeria's commitment to regional integration and economic development. With the theme, Unlocking Trade and Investment Opportunities in the Region, this summit will unlock new opportunities for growth and prosperity. Join us at the luxuriant Ahmed Bola Tinubu International Conference Center, June the 20th to the 21st, 2025, as we forge new partnerships, drive innovation, and chart a new course for West Africa's economic future. Assisted by Ambassador Bianca Odumegwu-Ojukwu, the summit convener, His Excellency Ambassador Yusuf Meitamatuga, OON, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Join us at WISE 2025.
This is Politics Tonight. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Our guest tonight is Mr. Ekere, former Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State and former MD of Niger Delta Development Commission. Tonight we're assessing Akwa Ibom politics and the quest for unity. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program, Mr. Ekere. Now, there's a report out there suggesting that PDP presidency did nothing for Akwa Ibom in over 16 years. Even when the state PDP probably lied to Akwa Ibom people. So that's the report. But that report didn't cover 8 years of President Buhari's tenure and whether that had any positive impact on the state. But now that the state has aligned with the federal government politically, what should the people of Akwa Ibom State expect from this relationship, this alignment with the federal government?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say it's a bit unfair to condemn the years that the Akwa Ibom State has been under the PDP leadership. I served as deputy governor under the PDP, and I know that there are projects that federal projects that were executed in the state during that period as well. I mean, if nothing else, we had roads done in the state, federal roads and so on and so forth. But right now, with the state aligning with the center, and we have a high-profile indigenous of the state as number 3 man at the Senate. I can assure Akwa Ibom people, and I like to believe that we'll have a more synergy between the state and the federal, which will actually translate into tangible dividends of democracy for the people of the state. The governor is interested, I know, about the Deep Sea Port project, which I believe with the collaboration of the federal government can see the light of day. I think that's the major project that we would like to see come. And it's an economic changer. It will change the economic landscape of the state if we can have our Deep Sea Port project realized. I believe sincerely that with the new realignment that we can see that project come on stream, and I can assure Akwa Ibom people that even if that's the only thing we get from this realignment, it will be very worthwhile.
All right, but are young people and women given enough space to grow politically in Akwa Ibom State?
Yes, I would say yes, but you see, generally in the country, I think women still need to get a little bit more prominence politically. But then my problem has always been that women sit back. Nobody would just hand it over to you when you don't ask for it. You need to make the effort. You need to go out there in terms of political offices and elections and stuff. First of all, you have to indicate your interest. Go buy the forms. You won't become a candidate of the party when you have not indicated interest, when you have not bought a form and gone through the process. So the thing is that our women should also step up there. And
but Mr. Ekere, you should agree, or you would agree with me that it's unfair for you to say that women should do more, should step up, because I mean you should know that there are so many factors hindering women participation in politics and governance in Nigeria. They'll tell you our husbands do not want us to join politics because politics is local. Now, that's for women. For young people, you ask them, why do you not want to engage in politics? They tell you older people do not want us to join them. They're not giving us the chance.
No, but I don't think that's the situation in Akwa Ibom. First of all, Akwa Ibom men, they won't stop their women from participating in politics. And that's why you see even in terms of the appointment, we've just recently appointed a lady as a pioneer managing director of the South-South Development Commission. You know, that's a woman right there. The River Basin Authority, Cross River Basin Authority, the managing director is female. We just, in the last board of the NNPC, the board member representing Akwa Ibom was female.
Right. So what reforms would you like to see to make Akwa Ibom politics more inclusive? And I ask because there's often talk about political divisions in Akwa Ibom State. What would you propose as a path towards unity, especially among elite stakeholders? Do you believe there's room for reconciliation among aggrieved political leaders in the states?
Oh yes, I believe that any reconciliation that's genuine, that's fair, that's fairness, justice, would work. Some people reconcile only on their lips. When you pay lip service to reconciliation, it's not going to work. But you see, and I'd like to refer to the example of the governor of the state. In the 2 years he's been governor, he's actually shown leadership and how reconciliation and inclusivity in governance can be. And I believe he's coming into the party with that template. And I see that there will be a lot of peace, there will be reconciliation, and the party would act as one. But let me take you back to the issue of women in politics. I still want to, and I say this with every sense of responsibility. And again, because I am aware, I've been involved. I remember when I was running for governor, we were looking for women to come out and run for the State House of Assembly seats in the respective state constituencies, run for federal House of Representative seats, and we didn't find them. We found, I think we got just about 2, and we gave them tickets. They won in their respective local government areas. So it's still important that the women should show up and show interest. It is important. We have progressive-minded leaders politically in the state, and I can assure you that if the women show up, they'll get the support that's necessary to run, but they need to show up. And I still insist that they need to.
All right. So let's talk about party politics. You're a former member of the PDP, so I'd like to get your perspectives on what exactly what you think is wrong with the party. I mean, you left because of lack of internal mechanisms and how the party went about that primary election. Pastor Eno just said he needed to align himself with the children of Ichaka in the Holy Bible, who were able to interpret the times and flow with the tide. Delta PDP and its entire structure moved en masse. What do you think is wrong? How much of this crisis is about personality clashes, and how much is about unresolved structural issues within the party?
Well, first of all, I think you're asking the wrong person give you an opinion on the PDP issues. I left PDP 10 years
I want you
ago.
to speak from the angle of, I mean, being a former member of the PDP.
Yes, PDP was too big for itself, the way we saw it at the time. You know, a political party that imagines that no matter what happens, they will keep winning elections. I remember in those days, we used to say we'll win and win and win and win again. They didn't believe that they could ever come to a point where PDP will not win elections in this country. And first of all, that's a problem right there. When you begin to have that kind of mindset, then you don't pay attention to the little things that you should pay attention to. Internal democracy is very important in any political party. You know, and there must be respect for rule of law and for even for fellow members of the party. So I don't want to speak for PDP because, like I said, I left that party 10 years ago. But generally speaking, I think the PDP problems, if they sit down and they're serious and sincere, they probably might be able to resolve it. I do not know. And I don't even want to.
All right. Then let's move on to other matters quickly. And given your experience at the NDDC and as a former deputy governor, do you think federal attention to Akwa Ibom matches its contribution to national revenue?
Oh, no. It doesn't. It doesn't match it. For several years, Akwa Ibom was number one contributor to the national wealth in terms of our resources. And you can't say that what they've been able to get in terms of patronage and federal projects in the state is commensurate with what they were contributing to the economy. And even in NDDC, I recall when I became managing director, I went in there and I also saw the same thing. NDDC projects are supposed to be distributed amongst the member states in the ratio of their contribution to national wealth. And like I said, at that time, Akwa Ibom was number one. It's no more number one right now. But at that time, Akwa Ibom was number one contributor to the resources of the country. But in terms of projects in the NDDC, they didn't get a fair share. It was mainly Delta and Rivers that had most of the projects. So I had to consciously change that to make sure that the principles of fair and equal distribution was respected in the NDDC.
Right.
So I believe that Akwa Ibom still can get some more patronage.
If that's the case, what should be the state's strategy for leveraging its oil-rich status to demand more from the federal government? What I mean is, what specific areas, such as infrastructure, environmental remediation, or youth empowerment should the federal government prioritize in Akwa Ibom states to reflect a fair return on the state's contributions?
Infrastructure. We have several infrastructural needs which the federal government can look at, but also the governor has talked about the ecological problems in the state for which we need federal government intervention and assistance. You see, it's a collaboration between the state and the national that can actually resolve all of these issues, which is why I'm happy. One of the reasons I'm happy that the governor has now aligned with the federal government, and I'm sure, and with the assistance of the Senate President, I'm sure we can get as much as we should from the center with this next move of the governor.
Earlier, you wanted to talk about your leadership under the NDDC. So what key projects or initiatives would you say made the most tangible difference in the lives of Niger Delta residents? Can you point to one project that truly symbolized what you were trying to achieve as MD of NDDC?
So the major thing we tried to do in NDDC was, first of all, to resolve the internal problems of the commission. The commission has, I talked about this, I think, sometime last week. There was this issue of overtrading. Too many projects scattered all over the place, a lot of them uncompleted, and then less than 10% of those projects being funded. And then because of, I know that the federal government has put in a lot of money into the NDDC, but at the same time, they haven't, the federal government contribution to the commission is not up to what the law that set up the commission expects it to be. At the time I was managing director, we had a deficit of over 1.5 trillion. And my position is that if that money is paid to the commission, it will put the commission in a position where they can fund all of these projects scattered all over the Niger Delta region, which are not completed. And that's why a lot of people say money has come into the region, but they can't see it. You can't see them because the projects are not completed. You have thousands and thousands of projects all over the Niger Delta uncompleted, no money to fund, to pay contractors. So if the funds come in, if this shortfall is released to the commission and such that they can now use it to pay the contractors and pay for projects that are viable, which can be completed, then you now begin to see a lot more projects done by the NDDC. And then you can at least justify the money that has come in. But, in addition to that, I think one of the major problems of the NDDC has been the high turnover of management. I left NDDC in 2019, and between 2019 and the last 2 years, you had 5 managing directors. How on earth do you expect that commission to function? A managing director comes in before he has the opportunity of sitting down to understand the system. He's changed.
He's out.
He's out. So definitely he can't do anything. The next comes in, and it's on and on and on like that. But that's why I commend the president for allowing the management of NDDC for the very first time in a long time to remain. Because that's the only way they can consolidate, work, and achieve measurable dividends at the end of the day. Because if you keep changing management, every other day, then definitely there's not much you can expect from them.
Yeah. Right. And gladly, we now have all the development commissions legally in existence. Is this really a game changer? And, interestingly, because our first shot at development commissions was in the First Republic. But now that we're back here, how crucial are these commissions to regional development? How significant is this step towards, accelerating the social economic development of the regions and perhaps lay the foundation for that infrastructural development?
So I believe it's going to be a game changer for regional development. And you see, every zone, every region of this country is unique. Unique cultures, the terrain is different, like the Niger Delta terrain is different, South-South is different from the Northeast, for instance. And the challenges of the regions are also different. So I believe that what Mr. President has done is actually, attacking holding the bull by the horn, so that every development commission in the respective regions will target on what the challenges of their regions are. And I believe that with the right management in place and commitment from the management, these would yield positive results for the country. And it's a cumulative. You see, the issue of management and development it's cumulative. Every little helps and adds up to overall development of the country.
All right.
So by the time we have these regional development commissions working in their respective areas, I believe it would, translate.
But with what we experience with the NDDC, how do we ensure these commissions do not become conduit pipe for corrupt practices? Do not become another avenue for financial mismanagement? And I mentioned NDDC for obvious reasons. Thankfully, you're the former MD, you're one of the former MDs of the NDDC, because despite the huge financial resources pumped into the commission over the years, the region still suffers same challenges. Until recently, the commission had experienced mismanagement of funds, contractors that collect mobilization fees and simply take a walk, allegations of politicians feeding fat on Niger Delta resources, and reports of terrifying wasteful expenditure. And also there are several challenges. So please speak to that.
You see, Nigeria is Nigeria. NDDC is not, it doesn't exist in space, in outer space. It's part of Nigeria. Of late, in the last we've been hearing about what's going on in NNPC and what happened in NNPC and so on and so forth. The same thing in every organization, you see, the corruption issue in Nigeria is a national problem. It's not, you can't say it's only in NDDC or it's only, and again, like I said, I think the major problem the NDDC has been the problem of over-trading. And this is a problem that has been cumulative over the years. So a management comes in, and again, you heard I spoke about the high turnover of management. The management comes in before they know what is happening.
So those are the challenges, Mr. Ekere. What must we do differently now?
I'll tell you what I did when I was MD of NDDC. For 2 years, we set up in our budget 80% of the budget dedicated to existing projects, only 20% for new projects. So if you stop awarding new projects, but rather try and work on existing projects, it will help. It will help to re-strategize on your balance sheet and help the commission to survive. So it's the management thing. Presently, I'm happy with what the management of NDDC is doing. They brought in, I think it was KPMG, to set up the internal processes and systems. So management systems, processes, dedication of management, and allow them to remain, for God's sake, and work for some time. And I'm sure some of those problems would be addressed.
And just to add to that, I remember that the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, once revealed that the Niger Delta Commission had over 13,000 poorly executed and unverified projects, despite 6 trillion naira allocation it received from 2001 to 2019. So that was why I wanted to know where you thought this change should start from. But quickly before I let you go, there's been this conversation, for a while now, there's been this conversation centered around resource control agitation and political instability in the south-south region of Nigeria. How crucial is it that, the government and all stakeholders embrace the drive for restructuring and equitable distribution of resources for development, as many believe is, the roadmap toward true federalism?
Well, you see, that when you talk about resource control and it gives, once the people in the region feel that they are getting a fair share for their resources, it helps to tone down the agitation. And I mean, you would agree with me, in the last 4 or 5 years, the issue of the agitation in the South-South, in the Niger Delta region, has really, really been toned down, And this, to a very large extent, is as a result of the efforts of the NDDC. People may not see it, they may not applaud NDDC, but I know a whole lot is being done by that commission to address the issues of insecurity in the region and, tackle the problems of, we had what we used to call Niger Delta agitators, so the NDDC has done a lot in that area. But I think generally the issues of insecurity and all of those have reduced drastically.
All right, then. A great way to end the conversation tonight. And we look forward to seeing the president in Akwa Ibom State tomorrow. And hopefully this new alignment, gives the people of Akwa Ibom the true dividends of democracy. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Former Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State and former MD of NDDC, Ekere. Thank you so much for your time, sir. And I look forward to more conversations with you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajubo Kedebu, or using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajubo Kedebu.